If we are talking about wash nowadays, yeye ndio wash number one, the real wash. Wacha hii wash hii ndogo ndogo yenye watu hufanya huko, because all that money that the guy was controlling, no innovation, no patent of anything. Is not a Mark Zuckerberg mwenye tutasema Meta. Oh, he came up with what did he ever innovate for him to have controlled such amounts of money in the 90s and so yes, we have to talk about them. They are politicians, they are public figures. We just have to talk about them. It doesn't mean we are not sending. We are not. Of course, we are sorry to the extent to which we can be. Because I also can't pretend, oh, I'm crying and what. No, we are sorry to the extent that we can be, to the feeling sorry for the family because he was a father, he was a husband, he was a brother. Of course, we are sorry that their loved ones have lost something. We understand that. We can only empathize with them. But of course, we can't go, personally, I can't go further than that. But we have to discuss him given the state that he's in right now. And like Mwaniki says, can you imagine all those the monies that he was controlling if they were used for road construction? You see, it's even ironical that you die on a road that should have been constructed, made better years.
So he laid the bed that he has left on right now. My sister, just a minute before you go ahead, my sister, do you think all this mix of emotion, because I feel like feeling emotional for the family tempts us to point out the evils that the politicians do in our society, like money laundering. That is something we should not be sitting here feeling sorry for a money launderer. I mean, I feel like you guys should make us have a very straight topic, like, can we talk about politics? And well, if you wish to say sorry to the family, I mean, well, that also dilutes the sorry, that kind of thing. I'm really split between those two emotional talks here. I'm trying to balance, you don't want to laugh in the funeral, but again, you're being tickled, that kind of thing. Anyway, thank you.
Wajaluo wanasema lak chogo kata mere moto. What is fun, even if you are bereaved. So, yeah, not that in this situation it's funny. So you can laugh even when you are bereaved. If there's something that is tickling you, it doesn't mean you are being insensitive, depending on how you do it. So we can still talk about Jirongo. When Raila died, we spoke about him. When, all these people keep dying, we keep speaking about them in terms of their legacy, in terms of what it means to us as a nation, because they've been our leaders, part of the leadership, and therefore part and parcel of whatever good or bad that has happened to the state. They're part and parcel of it. So yeah, mixed feelings, fine, but it doesn't stop us from discussing what we are discussing. And remember, it's open mic. If someone doesn't feel comfortable with this particular thing, yeah, they can come up with something else. Jeffy?
Thank you, Gloria. I hope I'm coming through, and thank you, Hillary, for hosting the space. You said it is an open mic, and we are sort of reminiscing or discussing the late Cyrus Jirongo as we would have it now. And I want to, foremost of all, sincerely pass my condolences to the immediate family and the friends and those who were his close alibis, because definitely death stings, whether or not the man is of any regard in a society or in a community. But to those who personally know him as a dad, a husband, a friend, it could be different. And so, yeah, we condole together with the nation. Of course, this is a life lost. But then what strikes me is that it is in public domain that leading up to, his, death, he had actually become a very sharp critic of the Ruto government. And actually, I've listened to, the driver of the bus in which there was a collision that involved this man's small car, and he died. And I couldn't just get to add up the dots and connect them because he seems to say the accident could have been avoided, but all the same, he realized that okay, it is Cyrus Jirongo's car that was on the wrong side of the road, and so the accident was inevitable in that sense. And also, what strikes me is, the statements that over time Cyrus Jirongo has made. I believe there's a time that he was actually publishing his book, and he actually was being interviewed by one Sifuna, where he said that there are certain things that he cannot actually mention about his fallout with the incumbent President William Ruto. And that became a major point of departure because we would realize these people were together in the 1990s in the youths for Kenya during Moi's regime, where Cyrus Jirongo openly said that Ruto was his spanner boy, his errand boy, if you would. And there are accounts of Cyrus Jirongo actually saying back then, if you remember, in 2016, where he made allegations after the burial and funeral of the businessman Jacob Juma, where he took the platform to actually criticize Ruto's character. And he suggested that Ruto was capable, indicting him indirectly of his supposed, the possibility that actually he could have been behind it. And so he cited an event that happened in 1990s there when there were, young people, and he said that Ruto he had witnessed Ruto strangle a man and killing him. And of course, Ruto never appreciated the claims. They remained to be just a political rivalry between the two of them. But I remember up until, is it 2018, 2019 there, where Cyrus Jirongo was actually expected to report to the DCI every single morning at 6 a.m. And so we ask, what was the fallout with the president, and why was he required to actually report to the DCI daily at 6 a.m.? What was at stake that he wouldn't speak about when he says, if I mentioned these names and why we actually departed, he would be a dead man? And so why was it that it had actually become a life and death matter? And so even as we condole with the family, still there lingers that fog that needs to be cleared of what actually happened between the two. And for me, I would say those questions are necessary. They are not a waste of time, because you realize that when high-ranked officials in this country, they die, we have the likes of the most recent Raila Odinga, we had the likes of Ogola, and the government investigations and pathologists tell us they are doing these investigations, and we never get to find in the public domain what their findings and report is, and so we are just left to speculations. And so I heard someone say last week when Kalonzo Musyoka said, intimated that he believes that Ogola did not actually just die. It could have been a political assassination, and people were asking him to go and file a report with the DCI. And the question for me is, why was that report from the findings of the DCI? Why is it yet to be available on public domain? Otherwise, we would not be asking these kind of questions. And history has always been repeating itself, the likes of George Saitoti. So at some point, we demand these answers, and if they cannot be given, so Kenyans have a right to ask. And so thank you very much for according me the time and the space to just air out my views about the issue. Thank you.